Welcome back to Mountain Murders Offbeat.
I'm Heather.
And I'm Dylan.
How are you today, Dylan? It's your birthday.
Oh my God. I feel so young.
Happy birthday.
Yeah, I believe it's working in reverse.
Do you feel special on your birthday? When you were a kid, you probably felt really special, right? Like your birthday was a really big deal. Why is it that we get older and then our birthdays mean less to us?
Well, that's called life kicking you in the mouth.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, I think so. But no, I don't really feel special. I enjoy the well wishes. People on Instagram or Mountain Murders Instagram and stuff has been wishing me happy birthday, and I really appreciate that. But it loses its luster.
Can I just say, and I don't mean to offend anyone out there, but I know adults, I know grown-ass people who will be like, it's my birthday month, and feel like they have to do something for the entire month to celebrate their birthday.
You know people like that?
They go out of town for the weekend. They go out to the bar the next week. It's like they spend the entire month celebrating themselves.
Ooh.
Yeah.
You know people like that?
Yeah, I judge them.
I can't tell.
Bit.
Well, here's the thing. I'm going to knock you down a peg or two. That's their fucking birthday, and they get to do what they want, I guess.
Well, no, they can. But that doesn't mean I'm not going to silently judge them as I check out their Instagram feed. And it's like, March is my birthday month.
Yeah, well, I couldn't imagine being like that as an adult because, hell, as a kid, I didn't get to celebrate the whole month, right?
Wearing a crown and a sash that's birthday girl or whatever. They're 48. I don't know.
Yeah, that's a little much. And all their friends take them places and maybe they get a limo or some cheesy shit like that.
Yeah, it's almost like a bridal party or something bachelorette party or something.
Yeah,
it's their birthday month.
Get really, really drunk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I might get really drunk and then just cry because I'm I gained 30 pounds since my last birthday.
And that's just a Wednesday. That's not a birthday month.
Well, that's true.
Well, I guess to each his own, but that is a bit strange to me because I think it definitely loses its luster after, I'm going to say 21, dude. 21's the big one. You're looking
the last big one, right?
You're looking forward to it, and then after that, they're big ones, but they're negative big ones.
My birthday is coming up in April, so I'm just gonna let you know that April is Hot Girl Heather month.
Oh,
I'm celebrating my birthday the whole month.
So you're going to be doing hot girl things all month?
I'll probably just go hang around in the cemetery like I usually do.
Yeah. So after that, you hit the big ones, and you're like, oh my God, it's your death clock's ticking.
Chat with some crows.
Yeah, your kids get older if you have kids, and they hit their milestone birthdays, and then you hit 40.
Well, you know what? You can't afford to celebrate your birthday when you get older because your kids spend all your money.
It's true.
So maybe there's that.
Yeah. Well, maybe they just make more money than us, or they don't have any kids.
Yeah, well, there's that too.
Yeah.
I have a great true crime story just because it's so bizarre.
Oh, lay it on me.
An Indiana woman allegedly killed her ex-boyfriend by lacing his oatmeal with fentanyl. Then she strangled him with his favorite tie.
Oh, my God.
How strange is that?
Now, I wonder why she wouldn't. I guess maybe she didn't give him enough fentanyl. He wasn't dying quick enough.
Well, he was 41, or she was 41. Her name is Heidi Marie Littlefield, and she's from Indiana. She was charged with murder and 2 counts of conspiracy in the death of Francis Kelly, who was found in his home in Carmel, Indiana. They were in a custody battle over their 2-year-old daughter, and accused, along with Littlefield, is her 22... I think this is the part that kind of got me. Is her 22-year-old daughter and the daughter's 29-year-old boyfriend.
Now, is that his daughter or is that her previous?
It's her daughter from a previous relationship.
Okay, well, that's really messed up.
That you would bring in your daughter, lace a guy's oatmeal with fentanyl, bring in the daughter's boyfriend. This just seems like a lot going on. This was not well planned.
Well, actually, if you would have done it right, you could have pulled that off. I don't know if the victim had any history of drug abuse or anything like that. But obviously somebody's a shitbird, right? Because they can get their hands on fentanyl, right? It's not down at the corner store. So you could pull that off, but I think that she just, she got sloppy with it.
Well, here's the thing. Police searched Kelly's phone and found texts where he had accused Littlefield of fucking with his oatmeal. She was at his home on January the 14th, and he had texted her, "Did you do something to the oatmeal in my fridge. You were in my fridge last night, and it tasted funny after a couple of bites, and now I feel lightheaded.
Oh, my God.
And then her response was, who the fuck puts oatmeal in the fridge? I don't know anything you do or want to. Your life and the stuff you say or do is beyond me.
Okay, well, she's not in the know. Those are like those next day oats, I think, that you soak overnight, right?
I would think so.
Yeah. So it's like a health thing, something, a way to get a lot of vitamins or whatever. And I was wondering, like, why is she making him oatmeal if they're having this contentious, child custody battle? But I guess that makes sense. She just happened to be by, maybe dropping a little girl off or whatever, and he's got the oats in there soaking for the next day.
I'm never letting my ex get in my fridge.
You're not coming in my house.
You ain't getting in my fridge.
It'd have to be a really good, friendly, amicable breakup.
Well, I'm sorry, but your ex isn't coming in our house.
Well, I'm saying, even if it's not this horrible breakup, I just think you don't really need to be in each other's house. You don't need to walk into each other's bedrooms. I think these lines of privacy and respect need to be drawn out once you break up with someone.
Well, my son's dad, he's been to our house.
Well, I'm saying,
I've been in their house.
If you're friendly and everything's super cool, but if you're having any kind of issues, I'm not opening myself up.
I draw the line at you're not allowed to take a nap in my bed. Like, you can come over, I'll make you a sandwich, you can hang out, you can use my shitter, but, I draw the line at, like, you can't borrow my toothbrush and you can't take a nap in my bed.
Well, see, that's these kids nowadays. They're way too familiar with our beds anyway. Like, they'll just come pile into bed with you. When I was growing up, I didn't get my mom's bed.
You didn't?
No, it was like her sacred area. I didn't spend much time in my mom's room, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see that, I guess, as such a big deal.
Well, I guess everybody's raised different, maybe.
Yeah, I don't know.
But
that's interesting. I just think it's crazy. She brings in her daughter and the daughter's boyfriend. He's texting her. The victim is I mean, it's just like this was not a well planned out. This is like one of the stupid criminal stories that you're bound to get busted.
Well, if you're texting back and forth about any kind of criminal conspiracy, you're a dumbass anyway. Because all that can be traced, even when you think you deleted it. I mean, we all know that we're being surveilled to various degrees on our phones and apps.
No.
Yeah, it's happening.
No.
And I think it's a good thing to have this thing with your bed. Because what if you just got through fucking in the bed and then, the kids come piling in. They're like, oh, was you having a peanut butter and jelly sandwich? What's this on this sheet here?
Oh, that was a little TMI.
Yeah, well, I'm saying there's a good reason to not be.
Okay, Dylan, we get what you're trying to say. Okay, your point made. Point taken, sir.
Okay.
Are you ready to get into today's episode?
Yes, let's dive into some listener stories.
We are taking a break from our Asylum series. We will be back next week with our final Asylum story. It's a good one. But today we have listener stories. Many of you have reached out via Twitter, Instagram, email, and have given us some interesting, creepy, bizarre stories.
Ooh.
They're all over the map here.
Oh, that's good.
Are you ready?
Let's get it.
Okay. You got your sheets over there clean and everything?
Let's put clean sheets on the bed and let's go.
Okay. In 1968, I had an aunt living with her family in Gaffney, South Carolina. She was in a textile plant near her house. Or she worked in a textile plant, sorry. She walked back and forth to work most days. As Dylan can attest, it is quite common scenario that neighborhoods surrounded the plant. The walk was only about 10 minutes, and even though it was 10 p.m. when her shift ended, there were a number of people coming and going on her street, so it was really safe. When the Gaffney Strangler began his spree, she started getting a ride from a coworker. His name was Leroy Martin. Yes, she was being protected from the Gaffney Strangler by the Gaffney Strangler.
No way.
Isn't that a bizarre story?
That is crazy.
Oh, we have more here, but we discussed Leroy Martin, the Gaffney Strangler, on a previous Patreon episode.
Yes, we did, and I guess everyone hasn't been able to listen to that, and they should check that out because it is an amazing story, and I cannot believe the Gaffney Strangler is not more well known.
Exactly. He goes on to say, fast forward to 2009, and Patrick Tracy Burris killed 5 people in the Gaffney area. He connected with a brother and sister and partied with them. The trio wound up in an empty, somewhat abandoned house in Gaston, North Carolina, 40 miles from Gaffney. Neighbors called the Gaston County Police. Burris shot one officer, and he was shot and killed by the other officer. I was late for work that morning as the police had blocked the road, and I had to take a detour. A few weeks later, I was on a ride-along with a Gaston County officer. It turned out to be the one who had killed Burris. Patrick Tracy Burris was a big man, 6'6" or so, and big. He was taken out by a female police officer who stands 4'11".
Wow.
And this was signed by Doug.
Damn, Doug.
Who is a good friend of ours. He comments on a lot of our Instagram posts, and he sent this to our email.
That's a great story, but that's really scary.
How strange to have two connections to the two serial killers out of Gaffney, South Carolina.
Yeah, I mean,
what are the odds?
I'd say they're astronomical.
It's that big, giant peach they have on the water tower in Gaffney. It's that big ass that's fucking people up, right?
Yeah, it's the big ass in the air that's causing problems.
Are you ready for our next listener story?
That's insane. That was a crazy story.
Right? For my environmental science bachelor's, there was a mandatory class all incoming students had to take, field immersion. This basically consisted of going into the woods for a long weekend and doing things like orienteering, plant identification, site assessment, etc. We were lodged in these cabins that were conventionally used for some sort of outdoors club or summer camp. I've always had issues sleeping, especially in foreign places. I totally get that.
Yeah, I'm not comfortable. I always wake up like freaked out and can't go to sleep when I'm somewhere besides my bed.
You know, I've realized if we stay in an Airbnb, it's not so difficult, but a hotel is the worst. I get the worst sleep ever staying in a hotel. There's just something about it. It's so uncomfortable, and you can hear people outside, up and down the hallways.
Yeah.
You might have the weird neighbor next door fucking really loudly or something.
Banging the headboard into the wall.
Yeah, I've had that happen a couple of times, and it's just like, oh my God.
That's not.
So I understand this sleeping in foreign places thing.
Yeah, so it's not working.
One of the nights, I decided to pull myself out of bed around 3:30 or 4 a.m. to jump in a lake that was right outside our cabin. I jump in the lake, and as I bring my head up, I see a dim white light hovering across the water, maybe about 75 yards away. It was a bright night out, so I could see that no boat was there to source the light, and the lake was relatively small, so you could pretty much see the whole body of water. The light slowly floated into the woods opposite the direction of me, got super bright, and then vanished. To this day, I have absolutely no idea who or what that could have been.
Oh my goodness.
And that was sent to us by Aaron.
Aaron, I mean, like you can tell that story. I'm sure Aaron has told this story many times and people are just like, okay, you know, like you were probably drunk or, you know, whatever, half asleep, you know, whatever, just writing it off. But if I saw that with my own eyes, even if I was alone, I mean, how do you explain that? I mean, that's wild.
It is a strange story.
Yeah, and you couldn't convince me otherwise.
It would be very freaky to see something like that.
Wow. I bet Aaron got their ass back into the cabin there.
I bet so. No more late night / early morning swims on the schedule, right? Our next story. I live in an old house that's been recently remodeled and have experienced strange things since arriving. For instance, I hear strange noises at night. I've seen things coming out of the corner of my eye, or I just have an overall feeling of anxiousness, as well as constant issues like pipes bursting, my electronics stop working, I've smelled strange smells, the dog acts strangely, there's been energy surges, and handprints that leave residue on the walls and TV.
Oh, see, that's the creepiest part of it right there. I mean, come on.
However, about a month ago, and of course this was sent to us, you know, a while back, so this has probably been a couple of months. However, about a month ago, I finally saw what was causing it, yet I have no clue what it is. I was walking into one of the bedrooms to grab a change of clothes and a towel. Directly in front of a door that goes down a long hallway that leads to the other side of the house that I don't typically go into. As I went to open the bedroom door, I had a strong urge to turn around. And when I did, I saw it. Peeking out from behind a bouquet of flowers and the wall to hide its body while leaving its face fully visible for me to see.
What was it?
It was short and had pale skin that seemed like it was human but sickly.
Oh my God.
It didn't have hair or a nose, and its eyes were round, yet still somewhat human-like. The part that left me speechless was that its smile took up nearly the whole bottom half of its round face and stretched up to its eyes. It never blinked either. We just stood there holding eye contact for a few moments. Its eyes never moved or blinked. The thing just stood there and watched me. After I was able to move, because I was paralyzed by fear, I didn't break eye contact with it, as I feared it would come closer. I slowly backed into the bedroom and closed the door. I waited a few minutes, then opened the door, peeking out to see if it was there, and it was gone.
Jesus.
That sounds like something from that, like, scary
stories. Yeah.
Like the doughy lady or
yeah,
something.
Del Toro. What's his name?
Yeah, Guillermo del Toro.
Yes, something out of his horrid, nightmarish imagination. Are you kidding me? I would have straight up shit myself standing there. Full on shit myself. And then I would have hurt myself running away.
I felt like I needed to get to a safe spot, so I moved to the bathroom. And I usually kind of feel uneasy in there and locked the door behind me. As I sat down, I started to feel an intense pressure in my head, like a massive headache was coming on. A weird, high-pitched static started to fill my ears, and my heartbeat was racing. It's been weeks, and I don't feel so much on the edge. I've convinced myself if it really wanted to hurt me, it would have by now. However, I am constantly afraid I'm going to turn a corner and expect to see that face again.
Oh my God. Yeah, I might have to be up out if I could, financially viable for me. I might have to go somewhere else.
What the fuck was that?
I don't know. That description is just horrid.
Yeah, like I said, it just reminds me of something from that film, Scary Stories, like some weird creature.
Yeah.
Sickly, pale skin. I don't know.
Yeah, that sounds like something either out of that or Silent Hill or something.
It's sounds like the penguin from the Batman movie. All like, that's the way his skin looked, like all white and
now
sickly.
Who is this that sent this story?
Actually, they didn't include
it's
their
anonymous?
name.
Okay.
Yeah.
And they said it was not that long ago, right?
Yeah, they said it was about a month ago, but they sent this a while back, so it's been a couple of months. Probably.
Oh, but still, it's not like something that happened years ago to them.
No, and they just moved into this old house. It's been remodeled.
Oh, my God.
They've been having all these strange experiences.
Damn. I don't know what to say.
I don't either. I'm just kind of like, what the fuck was that?
I'm sorry to whoever sent this in. That, again, people are going to make fun of you and all that stuff for, sharing an experience like this. But I don't even know what to say. That's borderline drive me mad. I mean, that was just but anytime you have that gut feeling or the hairs on the back of your neck standing up, do not ignore those feelings. Because those are evolutionary traits that have developed over thousands and thousands of years. Always trust your gut.
I like that advice.
Yeah, it's true.
It's good advice, Nolan.
It's true.
Fatherly advice.
Well, it's just err on the side of caution. Always trust your gut, and maybe it wasn't right, but you know what? Most times it is.
This was sent in by Lee, Leigh, Lee.
Ooh.
Okay. I was 16 or so, and my boyfriend at the time was an avid hiker, hunter, and all-around outdoorsman. I was also into all these things and loved camping. We decided to drive up to a spot that picked up the Appalachian Trail, an area we had been hiking for years, and camp for the night. The sun was starting to set, and we were settled in and snuggling by a campfire. All of a sudden, this sense of darkness, dread, fear washed over me, and I was completely anxious when, just moments before, everything was fine and peaceful. I was really scared and had no idea why. I was laying there trying to ignore the feeling when all of a sudden my boyfriend goes, "So, are you feeling super freaked out right now, or is it just me?"
Oh God.
Yeah, I am. And he's like, right, well, let's get the fuck out of here. We packed our things as fast as we could and rushed the fuck out of the woods, desperately trying to reach the car before the last bit of light disappeared. I remember jogging down the trail through the woods, staring up at the twilight sky. It was peeking through the branches, and just hoping we would make it, while not hearing a single sound throughout the woods. No insects, no birds, only us. Everything felt so heavy. We got to the car just as it fell dark, scrambled to pack our things in, and then drove out of there as fast as we could. The next day, I was at home watching the evening news when they broke that a missing college student's body had been found in the woods near a section of the Appalachian Trail. Authorities suspected foul play and had been searching for him for about a week or so. They confirmed that he had been murdered and his body had been dumped there by one of his suspected classmates. My stomach dropped and my blood ran cold because they showed footage of where he was found, which was right next to where we had set up camp the night before. My boyfriend also saw the story and called me to see if I'd seen. Needless to say, we were both totally freaked out. I have no idea what the feeling was in the woods, but the most unsettling part for me was that my boyfriend felt it too at the exact same moment as me, even though I didn't say anything and my head was laying on his chest, so he couldn't see my face or expression. Super weird.
Oh my God. See, her boyfriend, they were smart. What I was just describing, they took it to task. These feelings, they had this horrible, deep gut feeling, and they just got the hell out of there. Some people would brush that off and be like, oh well, we've already set up camp. We've walked back in here. Let's make it work. But I don't know what gave them that feeling, or feeling. I'm feeling.
That feeling. Feeling.
But I think they erred on the side of caution and got the hell out.
Yeah, sometimes I think that's the only logical solution in these situations. Even if it seems ridiculous, there is something telling you to get the fuck out. You need to get the fuck out.
Man, I wonder...
When my internal voice starts saying, run, bitch, yeah. I know it's time.
Right.
Yeah.
I wonder, God, that would really freak me out. So you have this experience, you get home, and you're just kind of probably trying to talk yourself down from it. Like, wow, that was weird, but, why did we do that? And then you see a news story like this, and there's a dead body discovered right next to where you're camping.
It's pretty freaky.
It is.
I want to find out which college it was. I feel like I need to try to find this news story. Now I need to know more.
Oh my gosh.
When I was younger, I was walking home from a friend's house around dusk. Upon turning onto my street, at the other end, there's a curve, and in that curve, I see a large dark creature with what appeared to be glowing eyes. I continue to walk and think nothing of it and assume it was my active imagination. That's until I noticed it was walking down the street toward me. I start to feel an overwhelming feeling of paranoia and dread. We get closer and closer to each other until we meet mere feet away from each other in front of my home. My feeling of dread and paranoia are immense as we look into each other's eyes. While we are standing in front of each other, I attempt to look around and see nothing other than dark. But eventually I break the state and immediately, I think she means stare, and immediately run my happy ass inside my home and, this is confusing, I'm sorry. Run to the front of the window to see if whatever that creature was still outside. Sorry. It wasn't, it was completely gone. No evidence of it even there whatsoever. I then tell my aunt and dad of this experience. Of course, no one believed me and chalked it up as a kid's imagination.
Yeah, that's what they always do. Oh, it's just some silly kid stuff. I don't believe it.
Sarah J.
Sarah, I'm sure, was terrified.
Yeah, I don't want to see something like that.
No, even if it is your mind playing tricks on you, I'm not saying that is, but it'd still be terrifying if you perceive it that way.
Exactly.
Yeah, so, you should still maybe console them and be like, are you okay? Let's talk about this.
Well, yesterday, my daughter and I were having this conversation. We were on a walk, kind of around the neighborhood, and we were just talking about, different creepy things and how your mind can, play tricks on you. Because we were saying, you've been home alone, and I know we've all experienced this. You're home alone, maybe it's late at night or something, and you hear a noise or something kind of happens. get a little freaked out. And from then on, it's like you can convince yourself that there's like a maniac outside
Right.
or some evil monster like hiding under the stairs, lurking in the basement. It's going to attack you at any moment.
Yeah, and so from then on, every little ping, noise, house settling, wind, a branch that might scrape the side of the house is going to just keep making you more and more convinced that there's a psycho right around the corner.
Right. It's like our minds are so like powerfully suggestive or something.
Yeah.
And you really can freak yourself out and convince yourself that something terrible is happening.
It's
just,
true.
It's just so, we were just kind of talking about how it's so weird that your mind can do that to you.
Yeah.
Even though we're rational creatures most of the time.
Well, yeah,
we can really scare ourselves and over nothing.
Yeah, your brain's pretty amazing. I mean, it really is. You can go on for hours about all the really cool, interesting things your brain can do. And it's just like the fact that just sleep deprivation alone can send you into a psychotic state.
And why are we so afraid of the dark?
Well,
as human beings.
again,
I mean, I guess it's evolution.
Yeah,
and it's
I
just
mean,
a primal instinct.
yeah, because our senses are not made for that. And most animals, a lot of the animals out at night obviously are nocturnal and they have the senses made for that, the eyesight, the hearing. And, just think about before fire, there were humans or humanoids, or whatever the right term is, Cro-Magnons or whatever, that didn't even have fire and would have to every cold, dark night, just have to make it through and hide somewhere in a damn shelter of some type, a cave or a hole.
A rock crevice.
And you know how happy you would be when dawn broke?
Yeah.
I mean, because that would be terrifying as a sentient creature that has to spend every night in the pitch black dark. So I think that's why we are afraid of fire.
Are you ready for our next story?
Oh, and Sarah J., we were not discounting your experience or saying that it was just your mind, because we don't know. We were not there.
Oh, no. Not at all. It could have definitely been something weird and unexplainable. Like that fucking white doughy creature in this other person's house. It's all white and sickly and pale looking with a weird smile.
I can't even. It sounds like Gollum with AIDS.
Ew.
It's bad.
Okay.
You know what the worst part of that was? The full face smile up to its eyes. Oh my God.
Next story. My dad grew up in a house way out in the country. He knows all the neighbors and at this point was living back at that house with my grandma as an adult. Him and his two friends were out driving in the middle of the night, probably stoned. My dad used to love going out and drifting on the country roads, so I'm sure that's what they were doing. There is a little road that goes down into a valley and is pitch black from the forest at night. They were on this road with my dad driving. Most likely, like a maniac, when the headlights started turning on and off for a few seconds at a time. He slowed way down while his friends yelled at him to stop. My dad was freaking out, thinking there was something wrong with his car. His lights turned off again, so he stopped in the pitch black, and his friends still thought he was messing with them. Then the lights turned back on and were shining right on a very tall old man with raggedy long black hair and a long trench type of coat, standing in a ditch, making direct eye contact with my dad. They hadn't noticed him before. The light started flickering again, and the old man was still there, and my dad immediately took off. Let me remind you, this is in the middle of buttfuck nowhere in cold weather. His lights worked just fine right after. They all got freaked out, but chalked it up to some homeless person living in the woods, but couldn't explain the lights. They just kind of ignored it after that. Then 2 years later, my dad and one of the same friends were out driving yet again down the same road in the middle of the night in his new car. Same spot, his lights started turning on and off. He was like, dude, really? Stop fucking with me. And my dad was swearing it wasn't him. Then the lights shut off completely in the exact same spot as the last time. He doesn't stop the car, but creeps along the road, and the lights turn back on, shining on the same man, standing in the same spot in the ditch, making eye contact. Instead of taking off, they drive slowly past the man, and he slowly turned to maintain eye contact. My dad swears the dude's eyes were completely black. My dad has told me this story many times, and his friends has backed him up on it. And this is signed Jason.
Damn, Jason.
This is one of those black-eyed...
Yeah.
We've had people talk about these black-eyed creatures or these black-eyed people before.
I was going to say, I think that's...
A few episodes ago.
That's part of urban legend lore right there. In certain areas, yeah. The black eye, they had that blacked out eyes, and they're always very similar to what's happening here. You know, they make contact, they just see them staring at them, you know, or see them somewhere, and they never make a noise or never try to contact anyone. They just see them. Jesus.
It's pretty creepy.
That's scary as hell. Are you kidding me? Especially the second time. The first time you'd be like, damn, at Colombian Gold, I was high as hell. But, you know, the second time, and they even took time to go by slower and get a better look.
In a new car.
In a new car. I don't know. I mean, if nobody was fucking with the other one, how do you get the old man in on it? See, that's the thing. Even if someone's just clicking the lights on and off, you know, who's
Well,
this?
and if he looks exactly the same as he did before.
Years later.
That's weird.
That is weird.
Okay, next story. Back when I lived with my stepmom, my dad passed away around 1 or 2 years prior to the story. I had a really strange experience which stuck with me. One night, I woke up from my bedroom and had to go to the bathroom. It was around 2 or 3 a.m. My stepmom and I had bedrooms right next to each other and slept with each of our doors closed because we had 3 dogs, and 2 slept with her and 1 slept with me. Anyhow, I walked to the bathroom, which was not that far, went back to my bedroom and opened the door. It was dark, but as soon as I started walking closer to my bed, I realized all the blankets, sheets, bed linens, blankets, pillows, everything were stripped off the bed and on the floor. It scared the shit out of me, and needless to say, I slept on the floor in my stepmom's room. My dog was awake and just staring at me when I walked in, but just the amount of time that this happened was crazy. It was just a span of a few minutes. No one else was in the house besides my stepmom, and I would have heard her open both doors if she was trying to prank me because she had bells on all of the doors, and there's no way she would awake that time of night. She also had a disability, which made it hard for her to get around without a cane. We always had believed in the aspect of demons and ghosts and said she had a third eye, but she was also strong into Christianity. Also, a fun fact, a woman was killed in my bedroom by an intruder in the 70s, which I found out a few years ago.
Oh, my God.
How do you explain the blankets pulled off the bed?
I don't know. It seems like possibly...
While the dog's just staring at you.
Maybe some light...
That fucking dog did it. That fucking dog did it. I'm sorry.
He's got an opposable thumb.
Yeah.
No, maybe it's some light poltergeist activity. I mean, honestly, because sometimes they're kind of jokingly... naughty and with their manifestations, so I don't know.
Yeah, years ago I was working in radio and I interviewed this little old lady who was like a local woman, and she was like in her late 90s or something, so she was quite old. And my boss, he liked to do these little interviews, kind of this community stories type of thing. So I was interviewing this lady, and she was telling me a bunch of crazy stories about, like, growing up in a house that was haunted, and all these weird things. And she had told a story about, like, getting up in the middle of the night or something and coming back to the bed, and, like, her quilt was off the bed and her pillow, and she couldn't find it, and, like, looked all over the house. Of course, other relatives were sleeping. So she was like, I didn't know what to do. I just got back in the bed, like, it was cold all night and stuff.
Oh, my God.
But she said the next day, her mom was like, why, your quilt and pillow were, like, folded and under my bed. Why?
Wow,
and the girl was like, I don't know. And I couldn't, and told her mom the story or whatever.
That's very weird.
Isn't that a strange story?
Yeah, but I mean, yeah,
She also had a story about a devil down in the scuttle hole.
Ooh.
Do you know what a scuttle hole is?
No, but it sounds like somewhere I would not want to go.
Oh, I have audio. I've totally got the audio saved on my phone of this old lady talking about that devil down in that old scuttle hole. And it's the funniest shit. Like, I just love her voice, her accent, and the way she says scuttle hole. So how it was explained to me is often here in Appalachia, people did canning. And her mama had, like, this hole in the kitchen floor. And you could, like, lift the little door up. And so it was almost like a little tiny space down
like
there.
a root cellar, kind of.
But it was like kind of, she explained it wasn't like real deep or anything.
Right.
But her mama kept like canned krauts and things.
Yeah,
down
because
in
it's
there.
going to naturally stay cooler and
Right.
dark. Yeah.
So she said her mama would hear this old devil knocking in that scuttle hole, making all sorts of noise, and that her mom like lifted the scuttle hole door and shouted down in there like, "You get out of here, you old devil, you!" And then she said she like never heard the old devil in the scuttle hole again.
Yeah, nothing like a devil in a scuttle hole.
Moving along, Dylan, we have got a few more stories. This happened probably in the early 90s before I was born. My mom and her best friend had gone out drinking one night. While they were at the bar, two strangers were trying to flirt with them, but just came off as creepy. The creeps wouldn't leave Mom and her friend alone, so they decided to leave. They went back to the friend's place, who lived in a trailer park then, and my mom stayed the night. Sometime after they got back, they heard a small noise at the door. They looked out the window and saw the two men from the bar at the front door quietly trying to break into the trailer. The friend grabbed the phone to call 911, but the phone line was dead. If I remember correctly, they grabbed large kitchen knives, banged on the window, and showed they were armed, and let them know they would kill them if they came in. The men took off, and neither Mom nor her friend slept that night. Next day, they found out the phone was dead because the men had cut the phone line to the trailer before they tried to break in.
Oh, my God.
Okay, that's really fucking terrifying.
That is way beyond some pushy drunk guy at a bar, which is not cool anyway. I mean, if you went so far as to cut the phone line, you intend on doing criminal activity.
Well, I feel like if you go as far as following two women home,
yeah. Oh, you're way out of pocket.
that's super out of line.
Yeah.
And then to cut the phone line, like they definitely did not have good intentions.
So who knows what could have happened if they'd gained entry and surprised those two women.
What a terrifying story.
But they wasn't having that shit. They went, "I'll spit on your grave" mode.
Yeah.
And was like, "Come up in here, bitch, if you want."
I don't think I could have spent the night there.
No, but I applaud them for protecting themselves.
Yeah, definitely.
and going so hardcore with it that it scared those creepy, scary guys away.
I did not. A name wasn't attached to that, so I didn't credit that story. Are you ready for the next one?
Yeah, damn.
We got a couple here.
I want to fight.
You can. You can fight for your rights to party. I was a child, maybe 7 years old. My best friend at the time lived very close to our elementary school, and we would walk to play at the playground almost every day. There were two ways to get there. One was a road, which was the long way, or a clear pathway through a bit of woods taken by most people that lived in a further direction. It came out right by her house, so that was our normal route. On this particular day, there was no one else there at the park, as it was a bit rainy. I remember climbing to the top of the slide and seeing a man crouched down near the tree line by the path behind some brush watching us. I remember feeling super uneasy, and we must have discussed it because next thing I knew, we were running home the way of the road. We got home and told her very older brother because, being young and naive, we thought it was him messing with us. He rightly freaked out, grabbed a bat, and went looking for the guy but never found him. I think about that day often and wonder who the guy was and what his intentions were. Well, they weren't good.
Well, no. Anytime you see a man, typically a man with no kids, hiding or kind of creeping around the park and staring, I've seen that in various degrees in my life with my kids at the park, and that's not cool.
It's weird.
It is weird.
And I always feel bad because there are, I think, a lot of good, decent men out there who do truly love kids and enjoy. I mean, I know that when I see other people's kids playing, if I'm out in public and see like a cute little kid running around, I'm always like, oh, and I don't want to be considered creepy because I do genuinely, most of the time, like little kids and like to play with them. I think they're cute, and I hate to sort of generalize like all men staring at kids are creepy.
Right.
But I just feel like in this day and age, with what we know now about predators, pedophiles, it does give me pause.
Well, yeah, and for all we know, that's a good point you're making. It could be someone who lost a child. It could be someone who never had children but always wanted to, and their wife, couldn't conceive or they couldn't produce a child. I'm very sure that sometimes these people have been accused or screamed at for just wanting to be around kids. But, I mean, that's just the world we live in.
Well, it's true. You know, I always like to give people the benefit of the doubt.
Oh my
But-
God. Now the next time I see the creepy dude around the park, I'm going to be like, oh, like poor guy. And he's like got 3 kids in his van.
Yeah, okay.
I'm just going to I'm going to keep erring on the side of caution.
Okay, well, sometimes I like to play the devil's advocate, I guess. Here we have another one. I grew up in the country, and we used to hunt out spots to park our cars and party without drawing attention from nearby residents or the police. I think a lot of people did that.
Yeah, I think someone will do that tonight.
I found one odd-looking clearing in the woods near an excellent place to park several cars, so it became our new party spot. One night, several girls in the group found some thick vines growing in the trees, and they began to make them into stick figures. We decided to hang them in the trees surrounding the area just to freak out anyone who happened upon it. That expanded into intricate designs with rocks stacked or laid out on the ground. We eventually stopped using the place because it started drawing attention from a local deputy. This was back in the day when deputies would find a bunch of teens drinking in the woods and would simply tell them to go home. About 6 months later, we ran into a group from one of the other high schools in the county, and they began telling the story of a witch's circle they had found while looking for a party spot. We soon realized what they were talking about, and we had a good laugh at them being freaked out by our stupid stick figures and rock designs. We never told them that we had done it. For all I know, the story may still be getting passed around among teens afraid of the spooky place we created, and kids may still be avoiding that area.
Oh my gosh. Does that have a name attached to it?
No.
Damn.
Well, I didn't put a name with it, so I'd have to go back in the message or whatever, but that's pretty funny.
They created the local Blair Witch.
It's pretty funny.
That is pretty funny, and very likely, I'm sure someone still tells that story of knowing or heard about this weird place.
Well, that kind of reminds me, like a few listener episodes ago, we had a story that was super freaky about like a hunter out in a really remote spot that was very, out. He was like, no one would know this area.
Yeah.
And just finding all sorts of really weird shit.
Yeah, and then he
Like,
kind of get chased out of the area by feeling very uneasy.
Yeah, and then found like a squirrel or something.
Back at his car.
Yeah. So I was just thinking about that because he was talking about encountering all this weird stuff and thought, well, it could be just teenagers, but it was just such a strange spot where no one would go.
Right.
That, it just makes you wonder. But then we have these kids obviously trying to fuck with somebody, and it worked.
I think it's pretty funny.
That is pretty funny. I'll go back in the message, but whoever you were that sent that in, that's a pretty good story. I have another one, and it's our last story. Are you ready?
Yeah, lay it on me.
And this one, actually, I did put the name was Jeremy.
Jeremy?
Yeah. I live out in the country in cornfields with several wooded areas scattered throughout. One night, I was riding my four-wheeler, and I could see what looked like the glow of a deep fire within the woods. I stopped and watched for about an hour to see if I could see anyone leave. Suddenly, the light went out. After about 30 minutes, I'd worked up enough dumb courage to ride back into the wooded area. I kept seeing reflective light coming from trees all over the woods. When I looked closer, and one of these, I realized that someone had stabbed a bunch of broken mirror shards of glass into the trees. I'm assuming to act as markers at night, ? Anyway, as I continued deeper and came across a ritual-style circle with candles on the ground surrounding one big candle and a bunch of geometric shapes made from twine and sticks. He's found the witch circle.
Yeah.
This is funny because this is like tying in. Sticks hanging from the tree over a really creepy scene deep in the woods by yourself. Of course, in a classic horror movie fashion, my light on my ATV just turned off. Obviously, I freaked the hell out, started my ATV, and hauled my ass out of there. Halfway on my way out of the woods, my light came back on, a loose wire connection maybe, and I saw, I think, a person in a black robe off my ATV tracks deeper in the woods. I must have gone 40 miles per hour through the rest of the trails until I was home. Don't know what I witnessed, but it scared the absolute shit out of me.
Damn, Jeremy. I'm surprised.
Jeremy just encountered these other kids' party spots.
Yeah, it's possible.
It's kind of funny that we have the one story and then we follow up with it.
Yeah, I'm glad he didn't wreck trying to get the hell out of there in another true horror movie trope.
I'm sad. I'd never find a creepy satanic ritual circle. I've never seen witches dancing naked in the woods.
Yeah, and see, you would be like, oh, cool.
Can I come join?
Taking selfies with like the weird symbols and stuff.
Yeah, I've never like bathed in blood in the moonlight, with a group of strangers. Why do we never have cool things like this happen when we're in the woods?
Maybe we're not in the woods enough.
I guess not.
Or maybe we're not deep enough in the woods. Ooh.
I think Jeremy encountered these other people's weird witch circle.
Maybe, maybe not. But that's pretty weird with the stab, the pieces of mirror in the tree and stuff
Well, now
like
that's
that.
weird.
Yeah, that's kind of weird.
That's an odd detail.
So those were some strange listener stories.
Yeah, we have some good ones.
Yeah.
And we're always accepting listener stories because we love these episodes. If you have a crazy, funny, weird, strange,
Yeah, it doesn't have to.
obscure, offbeat.
Yeah, it doesn't have
story.
to be paranormal. It can be a funny, weird story, a comical story, just any story, any shared experience. We would love it.
They can email us at mountainmurderspodcast@gmail.com. You can hit us up on Instagram or Twitter. Just send us a message.
Yes, and if you would like to find out more about the Gaffney Strangler, a serial killer you likely never heard of, you can check us out on patreon.com/Mount Murders Podcast.
You got it!
Oh my God, I almost said
You
it.
finally got it.
Jesus Lord.
Yeah, definitely. You can access a lot of bonus content, including that story about the Gaffney Strangler. I cannot imagine getting a ride home from someone and then you find out they're a fucking serial killer.
No, because them killing people is what made you uneasy in the first place, because you're walking home from work and then, now you're riding with this guy you work with and he's the one killing people.
Damn!
I would just be like, lucky to be alive.
Okay, guys. I have to wrap up.
Oh my God.
Dylan has plenty of birthday he has to celebrate. No, he has to go to work.
That's bullshit. It's every year.
All right. But love the listener stories. Keep those rolling in. We will be back on Sunday, of course, with a new true crime episode. Check out our other podcast, Batshit Crazy, now available on Apple, Spotify. You can listen on our YouTube channel and pretty much anywhere you download your podcasts. Just look up Batshit Crazy. We dropped an episode today. So, it would be Tuesday because we're actually recording on Tuesday. To drop this for tomorrow, Wednesday. But it's on vampires.
Yes, the vampire.
The vampire. Or if you live in the mountains, the vampires.
Yeah, so we give you the origins of the vampire through modern day vampires walking amongst us.
That goddamn Dracula.
Damn it.
My friend's grandma, she would always call him Dracula and vampires.
That's very country.
She'd say, you kids watching them Dracula movies? It was really funny.
Very funny.
It was cute.
Yes, we love you all and thank you for listening.